Awesome. Hello, you guys. Welcome to our interview. Kristen here with Brittany. Say hi to Brittany, everybody. I want to thank Brittany for being here and being willing to share her story with us. And I was just so excited to share Brittany's story. We actually did her exit session with CMW a couple days ago, and she lost over 40 pounds. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is a story that we just have to share, because this is so inspiring. And I want people to know that this is doable, And I remember when Brittany first came to us 20 weeks ago at this point, which is crazy to think about. I remember that, it didn't seem doable, and a lot of times people come to CMW and it doesn't feel that way, but it is. And Brittany's living proof. And I'm really excited for her to be here and to share her story. So thank you, Brittany, for being here. I appreciate it. I want to kind of start off with what I'm sure everyone is also wondering, where were you before CMW? What had you tried, in the past for weight loss, and what brought you to CMW?
Yeah, so I've always been like super athletic, and I always was like watching my my weight, my whole life. I feel like from 12, I was always on some sort of a diet. And for the most part, I was always able to keep the weight under check. But with my second pregnancy, I got really sick. And I was bedridden for 3 months, and I gained a lot of weight. I think it was just being inactive, and my metabolism shut off. And so I gained 50 pounds. And so, I basically and I thought some of it was going to come off when the baby was born, and it really didn't come off. So I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to figure out something. And in the past I had done Weight Watchers. At one point I needed to lose 15 pounds. And so Weight Watchers helped. But I did try Weight Watchers this time around too. But I noticed it was just a little bit too restricting. I ran into problems because I'm running after my kids all day. And so I would forget to track what I ate. And it was just too much. The tracking, everything was too much. And I also, we eat out a lot. My husband loves to eat out, or we'll order in a lot. And so it was super challenging to really stick to the Weight Watcher while doing those things. My sister had amazing success with Kristen, my sister Chloe, my cousin Abby, and my cousin Erin, and my aunt Jocelyn. So they all worked with Kristen and lost a ton of weight, and just are super healthier and looked amazing. So I figured, let me try this out. So that's kind of how I got there.
I love that. And you guys comment here in the chat if and Abby's actually here watching. She says, congratulations. She's here to celebrate you too. And so comment below, guys, if you resonate or connect with anything that Brittany just said. Maybe the second pregnancy was you gained more weight and it was a struggle to, lose it again, or if you did Weight Watchers and it didn't work the second time around, or if you've done something that felt too restricted, anything Brittany just shared with you, because those were all major struggles. And I know it can be very defeating, and it could feel like, well, if none of these things will work, maybe nothing will work for me. But luckily, you saw your family having success in CMW. And so that's why you came to us. I know you did one of our challenges as well. And then that's what kind of brought you into the program. And that's exactly what Chloe did. That's what Erin did. And I think actually your Aunt Jocelyn did the same thing. And Abby, actually, wait, your whole family did the same thing. They all did a challenge and then they did the program. That's so funny. I just connected the dots. So I love that you are following in their footsteps, and they all did interviews as well. And I just love being able to share this. So what did you like about the CMW journey? What were some of your favorite parts?
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about it was how it really is a program tailored to you. So I know you hear that a lot, but I'm really how much can it actually be tailored? So one of my fears was that my sister, who is very she's just amazing. She goes after something 100%. And so I saw she had all this success. And then I was like, wait, I can't do that. I'm not going to have that success. So it was really a big mental block for me to get past that. But I just think I love the flexibility. I love that they meet you where you're at. And they set goals that are attainable for you. So it's you're never comparing yourself against others. It's really just you stay in your own lane, and you find goals that fit you and you're where you want to be. So I really appreciate that, about the program for sure.
Yeah, I always say we love cookies, but nothing we do is cookie cutter, right? Like everything we do is different. And it's so funny. Now that I'm thinking about your whole family, you all are very different people. You have different personalities, you have different lifestyles, like you have children, like, Chloe was getting married, like, Erin's running around fostering. I can't keep up with all the dogs that she's taking care of. Like, I love it. Like, and Abby is like traveling everywhere. Like, all of you guys are different and have different food preferences and different lifestyles. And all your journeys were so different. But what's really cool is that you were all super successful. So it wasn't like you just followed Chloe's plan and you saw results. You guys eat differently and you have different preferences. So I love that you were able to kind of stay in your lane, like you said, and that's something we say a lot in CMW, not to compare yourself to other people. So I never heard you once compare yourself to Chloe or to Erin or to anyone. And you stayed in your lane and you were just as successful as they were. So happy to hear that. And like you had tons of victories and everyone has lots of victories, but I also want to be transparent in that not everyone's journey is easy. No one has a smooth sailing 16 weeks. So what were some struggles that came up for you on your journey?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely hit a plateau. I guess maybe it was like closer to the end of the program, but I was really like doing well with the eating and the working out. But then I sort of hit this plateau. So I worked through this. Oh, your face froze a little bit. I hope you're still there.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, you froze a little bit, but now it's good. Okay, cool. You're good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it's freezing just a little bit.
And we dug down to figure out what's missing. Like I was checking off like fitness, I was checking off. And so like I was like, oh, mine's like I got this, when
I hear you. I can hear you. It's just freezing a little bit. That's okay. Can you guys hear Chloe? Oh my gosh, I almost called you by your sister's name. Can you guys hear Brittany? I know like the internet's in and out a little bit here. One thing what she's talking about. Oh, there's Chloe. Speaking of, hey, she's live. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so Brittany's coming back on here in a minute. We lost your camera, Brittany. So what she was saying is she hit this plateau, but what was really cool, there she is. She come back. We can't hear you, girl. Can you hear us?
Oh no, is it maybe it's my Wi-Fi?
Oh, we'll see. I'll talk for Brittany while she's fixing that. So she hit this plateau and we actually, took a deeper look at her nutrition. We changed up her workouts a little bit. Brittany had a little bit of a neck injury. And so we were working around that. And then once we kind of like fine-tuned a few things and like really understood what was going on, she broke that plateau like really quickly. Like I think what was like 15 pounds you lost or something?
Yeah, I lost like 15 pounds over like 2.5 weeks. And I was I was like a little terrified. I was like, oh, that's a lot of weight. But I think like because it was waiting to come off, like and then like when I just put those pieces back in place, it was just like all of those days and those weeks, they just like came off at once. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. And then that's the thing, guys, that's what's really nice. I mean, comment below if you've hit a plateau before, and plateaus are frustrating because you could be thinking like, well, I'm doing all the right things, but the weight's not coming off. But what I typically find and what the coaches typically find in CMW is that usually not everything is aligned. Like there are some things that are off. And that's something that Brittany and I were able to identify. And Brittany also spoke with our other coaches, Danielle and Kisa, about that. And I think, just the combination of that support was super helpful. And, and I know you mentioned just now, like, losing the 15 pounds in 2.5 weeks, like, yes, like for some people, that's a lot of weight to lose and everyone loses weight at different paces. But I'm sure like when some people hear that, they might, wonder, well, how sustainable, is this process for you? Like the way you were eating, like, how do you feel about the way you were eating? Do you think this is something that's sustainable for you long-term?
Yeah, I feel great. I've always been sort of sensitive to food. So like I gave up gluten a while ago. But I, since sort of eating much more healthy and clean, my gut just feels amazing. Like I never bloat anymore unless I eat something that like I probably shouldn't have because it didn't agree with my body. So for me, it's like really easy, positive reinforcement to this lifestyle because I feel so much better and I'm not bloated all the time. And like my stomach feels great and I have energy. So for me, it's just like an easy thing to just keep going at because I just feel so good, you know?
I love that. Oh my gosh, you guys, comment below if you struggle with bloating, and how frustrating is it to feel that way? Because I've had people, I actually just got up a call with a new client earlier and, she was saying like, I want to lose this weight, but I really want to get rid of my bloating and I really want to improve my gut health. That's really something important. We talk about in CMW, we always say like health first, weight loss second, both with strategy. And Brittany, I know like something you had mentioned was that you really love the nutrition piece too of the program and like learning nutrition for your body. And you did such a great job with doing that and, cooking for yourself more at home. I know you were saying earlier, you guys were eating out more, but I want to give you credit where credit's due, because I know like you got in the kitchen and started making those quick, easy meals and just fueling your body right. And that's why the bloating also went down, because you finally learned what foods work for you. And that there's something really empowering about that. And I think we talk about food freedom a lot in CMW, and yes, like food freedom is all about choice, right? So we're choosing to consume foods that we know serve us. But then if we do eat something that might not be the healthiest thing, we know what's going to happen and we move forward from it, So I really love that you learn that balance. And I'm so happy that you feel good about like what you're eating and you're less bloated, because there's nothing worse than feeling bloated, So
when you like don't have it and then you like have it and you're like, oh wow, this is like a terrible feeling.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, one of the last questions I always ask is like, how confident do you feel, in your ability to continue with your results and make this a lifestyle?
Yeah, I feel like I have all the tools that I need, and I still, as mentioned to Kristen, like I'm still not at my goal weight. I still would like to lose another 15, 20 pounds, but I know I have all the tools. Like my nutrition's right, like my mindset's right now, and like my fitness, like I have a plan. And so I just feel really good about, it's like, if it's not broken, don't fix it, like this plan that they give you is like, it's like gold, it really is great. And so like, I just feel super confident that I can lose those 20 pounds and then like maintain. So
I love that. One last thing I want to ask you, and this is for everyone watching or, anyone that is contemplating the weight loss journey, or maybe, is on the weight loss journey and maybe they're having some struggles, or maybe they're doing great and they just want some more momentum and inspiration. What's one piece of advice you would give to anyone that is on this journey or thinking about it?
Yeah, I would say just like trust the process. And clearly this is a program that, Kristen, you've spent a lot of time on and it works. Like it's a recipe that works. So I would just say like, trust the process. Don't be like, get past your mindset of like, whatever's telling you that you can't do it or there's no time. Like I really like didn't have a lot of time. Like I'm a busy mom but like they created something that works for my schedule. So I would say, don't be afraid, like give it a shot, like I was terrified because I was terrified of failing and I took that step and like, it was super attainable. And it was like, they were there with me the entire way. And I just felt super supported and, I had all the tools that I needed. So I would say, don't wait. Like, people always say that, but I would say really don't wait. Like it can change your life.
Okay, don't wait. I love that. Yeah. And like on the other side of fear is everything you want in life, right? Like usually like our own fear of failure is what gets in our way. And I hear this all the time. We've had a lot of people within CMW who were super successful. They were super afraid to start. And that's for anything in life. There's fear of starting a business or getting a new house or ending a relationship. There's always fear, but it's like, well, what are the benefits? And I know you got all the benefits and there's always that fear of failure, even while you're on the journey and while you're succeeding, you still might have those fears of failure. Like, can I continue this? Is this going to work for me long-term? And you have proven that, Brittany, and you have all the evidence, overcoming fear is creating evidence that what you're thinking is not true, right? Thoughts are not facts. And so, you were able to change your mindset, as you said, and that has really created the momentum and the results that you have. And now you have what we call your recipe for success, and that's been the most important recipe in the world. I always say people, we get so many questions about recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, I'm like, well, what about your recipe for success? Like, what does that look like? So like that is the most important recipe that you could ever find in life. And so all the people watching that are on Pinterest, they're on Google, they're getting all these cookbooks, you know, those recipes are only going to get you so far, right? The recipe that you want is what Brittany has right here, what her sisters have, her cousins, you know, everyone in CMW. And yeah, food freedom is that recipe. And I'm so thankful for you to share your story. And I know, like, you know, Chloe and Abby are here. I'm going to go back and look at some comments here in a little bit. If you are looking, if you're watching this today and you're looking to create your own success story like Brittany, don't wait. As she said, I think those are great words of wisdom. If you want to book a call with us, just like Brittany did, to see if this makes sense for you, if you're a good fit for CMW, I'll tell you, you know, if this is a good fit or not. And if it's not, I'll put you in the right direction. But to book a call with us, just go to createmyweight.com/apply. And we'll set up a call and we'll talk about where you've been and where you want to be and the best way to get you there. And that's where Brittany is now, you know, and I'm so happy, Brittany, that you're set, you know, and Abby and Chloe watching your set too. And I want to help more people get set up for success because I don't want you to worry about this anymore. You know, I want you to go into the rest of the new year. And what's really cool, Brittany, is like now you're going into like, you know, Halloween season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and like all these like food, you know, centered events, and like you got a game plan. You're gonna be fine, you know. Yeah. So this is the time of year to do this. I always say, like, if you really want to have food freedom, you want to enjoy the holidays and still reach your goals, this is the best time. So you're set now. You don't have to worry about it anymore, but you've got your plan. So Brittany, I want to thank you again for joining and everyone watching and cheering Brittany on. And Brittany, you're an inspiration. I want you to remember that. I know you still have a goal you want to reach and you're going to reach it. And like use this talk tonight as your momentum, as I said to you, you know, before we started. And you know, you can always reach out to me. He said, Danielle, if you have any questions, once you're part of the family, always part of the family. And I love that your family is a big part of CMW, you know, so it's great. I feel like that's how we've grown, is like through your family. Honestly, I always say that. So again, I'm really grateful for you and for everyone watching, and have an awesome Thursday. And Brittany, I'll talk to you soon, girl.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
Yeah. Bye guys. See ya.